Welcome to the Epic English. Channel Elliot Goldman arrived home an hour before his wife, Hannah. He grabbed a beer from the fridge and sat down to relax on the coffee table. He noticed one of Hannah's women's magazines. The cover featured a headline, 10 Ways to Know If Your Spouse is Cheating. Normally Elliot would ignore or even laugh at such titles. However, over the past month or so, he had felt a shift in the dynamic of his marriage. He read the article and immediately scolded himself for trusting such lists. Yet a seed of doubt about his wife's behavior after 6 years of marriage had been planted. A few days later, one of his colleagues approached him after lunch. "Hey El, I'm not sure if this is true, but I saw your wife having lunch with some guy. She works with several men. I suppose it's not unusual for her to have lunch with one of them from time to time, but do they usually hold hands, stroke each other, and hug?" He pulled out his phone and showed Elliot after watching the video for a couple of minutes. Elliot remarked, "They do look quite cozy, don't they? Did you happen to hear what they were talking about?" "No, I was too far away. All I know is that they were smiling, laughing, and looking at each other lovingly." "Did you see where they went after that?" "No, by the time I paid the bill they were already gone." "Well, it's probably nothing, but I need to talk to Hannah. Send me the video." That evening, Elliot got home shortly before Hannah. "Hey big guy, how was your day?" She greeted him cheerfully. "Interesting. How about yours? Anything special happen?" "Same as always. How much time do you get for lunch?" "Why do you want to know?" "Planning to surprise me and take me out for lunch one day." "That'd be great. I just wanted to know how much time you have. It might matter for which restaurant we'd go to." "Officially, we only have half an hour, but we can stay longer if we let the secretary know. Have you had any of those long lunch breaks lately?" "Is there a point to these questions? Come on, spit it out." "Why are you really asking?" Elliot pulled out his phone and showed Hannah the video. Her response was calm, "And so what, it seems like you're really close with this person?" Elliot said, his voice tinged with suspicion. Hannah laughed. "You mean, because he's affectionate? You were both affectionate. That's so sweet. What are you talking about?" Elliot's tone grew sharper. "It's sweet. You're jealous. You're jealous of Spencer, a gay man. We touch each other the way I touch all my girlfriends. Trust me, there's nothing romantic about it. I guess I should be flattered that you're jealous. It means you value our marriage if a potential competitor upsets you." Hannah smiled broadly. "El, remember appearances can be deceiving." "Well, I can't exactly say he's gay," Elliot replied, skeptical. "If you really want to know, talk to everyone I work with. Better yet, check out Spencer's Facebook page. He doesn't hide his preferences." Elliot did check Facebook, and sure enough, Spencer's page confirmed he was gay and in a same-sex relationship. Elliot felt ashamed for doubting Hannah. A few days later, Hannah called her husband to let him know she'd have to work late and that he should go ahead and eat without her. This almost never happened. Hannah's job simply didn't require evening hours. Elliot remembered the list unexpected. Overtime at work was number 4 on the list of signs of cheating. Elliot went to her favorite restaurant and ordered some food. His plan was to bring dinner to his poor, overworked wife if she was genuinely busy. If he was wrong, he'd simply join her for dinner. The security guard recognized Elliot and let him in. Elliot declined the guard's offer to notify Hannah of his arrival. He wanted to surprise her God how he wanted to surprise her. As he approached her office, he heard 2 voices, one male and one female, walking quietly. He stood by her door and listened when he heard his wife say, "Oh, that's really good." Elliot, anticipating the worst, quickly opened the door. Hannah and the man she worked with were standing over an architect's table looking at a large sketch of an organizational chart. They were both fully clothed, and nothing seemed inappropriate. "Elliot, what a surprise." "What are you doing here?" I just wanted to bring dinner to my loving wife." "That's so sweet. Did you bring dinner for Jimmy too?" Thinking quickly, Elliot replied, "There are 2 dinners here, so you've already eaten." "Yes, I already ate." "Well, I should head home. See you there." "Sorry for interrupting, Jimmy. I want to walk my husband out. I'll be back in a second." They headed to the elevator as soon as the doors closed. Hannah turned angry. "Sorry, but I don't. By the Good Husband Act, you've never done anything like this before. Walking into my office without even knocking. If this is somehow related to your ridiculous jealousy, we might have a problem. We'll talk when I get home properly." Scolded, Elliot braced himself for what was coming. The lecture began before Hannah even took off her coat and hung it up. "At first, I thought it was sweet that you got jealous over my lunch with Spencer, but now you're checking up on me because I had to work late. Jimmy asked me if you're always this suspicious, Elliot. This is becoming more than annoying. If you think I'm making a fool out of you, I want to hear it. Now. She stood with her arms crossed, frowning well. The thing is, I love you so much, and I know other men appreciate your beauty just as much as I do. I've always felt so lucky to be married to you. It's hard for me to believe that other men don't hit on you. I'm afraid you might enjoy it. What utter nonsense? Yes, other men hit on me not often, but it happens, but that's not the problem. The problem is that you actually think I might respond to their advances. Are you really so insecure in our relationship? If so, I suggest you immediately pull your head out of your ass. Compren. Yes, dear, I'm sorry, please don't be mad at me. I love you so much. Well, tonight you won't be showing me your love in bed. You'll be sleeping in the guest room, though I hope you don't sleep at all figuring out what you need to do. Good night. Hannah headed to the bar and poured herself a drink. Elliot went to prepare the guest room. That night, the Goldman household felt colder than usual. Elliot was relieved that Hannah didn't seem as upset in the morning. Elliot, I'm very sorry about last night. I'm just disappointed that you seem to think so little of me and suspect me of possible betrayal. Listen, I take my marriage vows very seriously, since we got married. I haven't been with anyone else and I don't plan to be. You don't seem to understand that appearances can be deceiving. Moreover, I've never doubted your loyalty to our marriage. I believe I should expect the same. I just don't understand why that isn't the case. Tears welled up in her eyes. As she finished, Elliot felt miserable. Forgive me, darling, you've helped me see sense. Please, forgive me. I won't doubt you again. Hannah approached him and kissed him. Let's put all this talk of spying and infidelity behind us. Our marriage is too important to sabotage over a misunderstanding, and remember, soon we'll be adding little ones to our family. We can't raise children in an atmosphere where one of us doesn't trust the other. That's enough for now. I'll see you at dinner, and don't worry, I won't be working late tonight. She gave him a sly smile. Over the next few days, Elliot tried his best to do things he hoped Hannah would appreciate: flowers, chocolates, truffles, nut clusters, and caramel bars, and dinner invitations. The atmosphere at home significantly improved. One evening, Elliot was balancing his online checking account and the online statement for his credit card. Everything looked fine until he reviewed the joint credit card account he shared with Hannah. 3 days had been paid for at a local 2-star motel. He realized those 3 days coincided with his recent business trip. Damn it, not again. Recalling the last disaster, Elliot didn't even want to think about bringing it up to her until he was certain of what he feared. He started thinking about how he could confirm the truth before making a fool of himself again, or worse, jeopardizing his marriage. Elliot went to the motel and asked the clerk if he had been working on those 3 days. He then inquired if there were surveillance tapes from that period. There were for $250. He was allowed to view the footage. After fast-forwarding through the tape, it finally showed Hannah unlocking the door to a room with her. Was a casually dressed man. They entered together. This was a few hours before Hannah left the motel. Although it seemed Hannah never stayed overnight, she did make several visits of varying lengths over the 3 days the man came and went multiple times on his own, usually carrying food. Elliot obtained a copy of the footage. Elliot ran through every possible scenario that could justify Hannah's visits to the motel for legitimate reasons. He couldn't imagine anything other than what he feared most. Was it time to confront Hannah again? No, not. If he wanted to keep his sanity intact, he needed more proof. Elliot consulted with his lawyer. By the time he left the office, he had a divorce filing in progress and a private investigator under contract. The detective hid cameras and microphones in the house, while Elliot placed one in Hannah's car for weeks. The daily review of videos and recordings revealed nothing unusual until the digital recorder in the car captured part of an explicit conversation between Hannah and someone else. "Hey Craig, can we talk? I'm in the car driving to work." "Sure, I'm driving too. Are you ready to talk about our little adventure at the motel?" "Yeah, it was one of the most thrilling things I've ever done." "So you have no regrets about what we did?" "Not really. I just wish we didn't have to be so secretive. We can't talk about this at the office. You never know who might overhear. Well, you could always tell your husband about it." "Oh, right, like he'd understand why I needed this." "Do you think we could ever do something like that again?" "I don't know, we'd have to pick the right time. I don't want to explain what we're doing. The potential consequences are just too awful." "Al, right, I'll wait." It's worth it fine. But next time you're paying for the room, they both chuckled and the conversation ended. Elliot was boiling with rage. Let's see what this crap has to say about it. Copies of the video and recordings have been sent to his lawyer. A copy of their prenuptial agreement was to be attached to the divorce filing. The adultery she had committed would leave her with only what she brought into the marriage. Elliot would tell his lawyer when to pull the trigger. Hannah walked in, took off her coat, and tossed her purse onto the couch. Elliot sat at the kitchen table, drinking a beer. His laptop was open in front of him. Angled toward the living room. Beside it lay an envelope, and on the other side a digital recorder. Judging by that smug grin on your face, you've got something up your sleeve. You'd better not have fallen for this adultery nonsense again. This time it won't end. Well, I'll admit you fooled me before Hannah, but this time I've got proof. This should be good. Show me your so-called proof. Elliot played the footage from the motel room showing Hannah entering and exiting, sometimes spending over an hour there. And that's it. Before I say anything, what else do you have? Elliot played the recording from the car conversation. His confidence wavered as he noticed Hannah's smug demeanor throughout hearing the recording. Hannah smiled. This is going to cost you dearly, you idiot. First, the video. Yes, I agree. It shows me entering and leaving a motel room with a man. His name is David. What you don't see is that his sick wife is in the room. Don't you remember that my office supports the Fairview homeless shelter? David and his wife were using their time at the shelter to get back on their feet. The shelter agreed to pay for 1 week in the motel. They needed more time. Craig and I decided to help them, even though it wasn't something we had planned. I paid for an additional 3 days before they moved into a supervised apartment provided by a mental health center. David's wife is a former service member, physically disabled and suffering from PTSD. I spent time in the room talking to them about where they were moving David's job prospects. I was trying to encourage and support them. The reason Craig and I were secretive is that we could lose our volunteer positions for going against agency policy. If the agency made exceptions to its rules about the length of support, others would expect the same, and they don't have the budget for that. If our company found out that we were removed by the agency which they are major contributors to, it could negatively affect our jobs. I don't think they would fire us, but it could impact our future promotions and career advancements. That conversation with Craig is easy to understand now, knowing what the secret was. Play the recording again. See if you can hear anything in our discussion that explicitly mentions sex or cheating on our spouses. What you'll realize is that you took our conversation about a secret act of kindness and twisted it into something sinister. You just had to make assumptions. Speaking of assumptions, maybe you should grab some lube because I'm about to kick your ass, but can't we just talk about this without a no? You don't deserve any respect after what you've done. You say you love me, but you don't trust me. I'm not sure I can stay married to someone who doesn't trust me. Those divorce papers in front of you. Yeah, but I'm not obliged to. Shut up. You can shove those papers up your ass. After your last bout of distrust, I started thinking about what I'd do if you doubted me again. I decided that simply leaving you wouldn't be enough. It wouldn't hurt you because clearly you don't care much about me if you can believe I'd want another man. I also realized something else over the last few years. It's like you found yourself a new wife. You. Hannah. I swear to God I've never touched another. Oh, spare me the theatrics. I'm sick of your hypocrisy. I wasn't referring to another human woman. I was talking about your business. You're so consumed with growing it and preparing to take full control in a few years that the business has become your wife. Honestly, if you could screw it, you probably wouldn't need me at all. Elliot said. Nothing. Here's what you're going to do. If you want us to stay married, keep in mind, I don't care what you decide. However, I might agree to stay married. Part of my reasoning would be the daily satisfaction of making you pay for this betrayal until I'm satisfied. The other reason would be to avoid the mess, hassle, and expensive, dealing with lawyers and a nasty divorce. And believe me, if I decide to divorce you, it will be nasty, darling. I'll do whatever it takes to save our marriage. Please just tell me what I can do. Give me a chance. Damn it, you made me lose my train of thought. Bo, write the divorce filing, have your lawyer shred it, and instead rewrite the prenuptial agreement. First, remove the clause about if one party can prove the other has committed adultery. Then add a provision that I get 25% of your business and 60% of your assets, $5,000 a month, in alimony for 5 years, regardless of who initiates the divorce or the grounds. If that sounds harsh, well, tough. I need something that scares you enough to stop these fraudulent accusations of infidelity. I want you to think long and hard about what it'll cost you the next time you choose not to trust me. And that's not all. If I ever hear, see, or even sense that you're checking on my cheating again, I will castrate you and shove your balls into your mouth. This signs of infidelity nonsense ends right here, right now." After a brief pause to let her words sink in, Hannah continued, "Elliot, do you still have your balls?" "Yes, do you want to keep them?" "Yes, good answer. What I've outlined are the terms under which we can stay married. Call me when you've made your decision." With that, Hannah walked out of the house and drove away. Elliot was in despair. Why can't I learn I'm such an idiot? I should have trusted her. What's going to happen to my trust in her now? Maybe she's right about me paying more attention to the business than to her. I really don't want a divorce. Maybe I don't deserve her. At the very least, I need to kiss her ass for as long as it takes. I'm probably lucky she's even giving me a second chance. He called his lawyer and instructed him to drop the divorce and instead revise the prenuptial agreement. His lawyer protested vehemently, but it was in vain. The next day, Elliot got a call from the private investigator. "Do you still want me to keep an eye on your wife?" "No, just send me the final bill. I can't do it right now. I need to figure out how much time it'll take to remove all the cameras and recorders. However, you can save some money. If you take them down yourself and return them to me, that would really help. Since the catch-a-cheater business is booming right now, you know what they say. Blessed are the cheaters, for they keep private investigators in business," he chuckled. "Sure, I can handle it." Elliot left work early in case Hannah came home. Removing all the cameras proved to be no easy task. Some were installed in high places, forcing him to strain his back while searching for them. When he reached for the recorder hidden in a kitchen cabinet near the landline, he accidentally pushed it farther back. Straining even more to retrieve it, he worsened the pain in his back. He barely made it to the chiropractor. Thankfully, the chiropractor was able to provide relief. Elliot was prescribed muscle relaxants and advised not to strain his back for about a month. Elliot had the revised prenuptial agreement ready. He was just about to call Hannah to have her sign it, when the private investigator called, "Hey man, I thought you were going to return my equipment. I need it back as soon as possible. Damn, I hurt my back trying to grab the last recorder. With the trip to the chiropractor, I completely forgot everything else is in the basement except for one recorder. I'll head home right now and bring it all to you this afternoon." After lunch, Elliot went home. It was obvious Hannah had made breakfast and left the mess behind. Elliot went to retrieve the last recorder. Not wanting to risk injuring his back again, he grabbed a grabber tool. It took several attempts, but he finally managed to grip the recorder and pull it out. He noticed there was a recording on it made since the last time he had checked. On the way to the office, Elliot decided to listen to the recording. It was a conversation between Hannah and a man he assumed to be Craig. It was a face-to-face discussion, not a phone call based on the audio. He guessed they were in the living room together, that he heard Hannah suggest want to drink first. "Yeah, we've got plenty of time, right?" "Yes, well, my husband won't be home for a few hours, but I need to be back at work by 2. "Did he say anything about the prenup?" He said, "Everything will be ready any day now. I can't wait to file for divorce and finally be a single woman again, a rich single woman." "Hey, what about me? I thought we were getting married, and don't you think your wife will be upset about us getting married?" "It's fine. I'm just waiting for the right moment. I don't want to end up completely broke because of her, but your sweetheart is about to become obscenely wealthy. Don't you think I'll take care of you, but you don't have the money yet, do you? Great, another man who doesn't believe in me." Hannah laughed. "I have to admit you pulled this off flawlessly." The magazine article on the coffee table. Lunch with the gay guy. Oh God, I had to endure that fruit for 3 lunches before that damn friend of Elliot's finally saw us. I was afraid I'd have to screw Spencer on the table to get his attention. Then the evening work with Jimmy, good thing. Elliot showed up on time. Jimmy was getting annoyed about having to stay late for something that obviously could have been done in 15 minutes during the day. "How did you find out about the cameras and recorders?" "I just figured his lawyer would recommend it. I searched for a couple of days before finding the ones in the house and the recorder in the car. I just checked. Now they're all gone." The best part was the motel charges and the fake phone call. "I'm glad you gave me the script. I think I would have messed it up if I'd had to improvise. I had to choose my words carefully so they could be interpreted in 2 ways. It worked perfectly. Everything worked perfectly. You're so smart. It's almost scary. Well, there was one trap that didn't work. I remember that the semen on my panties. I was hoping he'd find it and accuse me of cheating. Then, I'd make him do a test and find out it was just mayonnaise. It would have been hilarious to rip into him for being jealous of mayonnaise. Do we still have to wait for real sex? I'm so turned on, you know. I wanted to be extra careful and avoid sex, just in case Elliot got lucky and caught us. But I think we're safe now. Elliot will never spy on me again. Even if he suspects something, he'll be too scared to act. That's the beauty of my plan. Since he won't check on me, we can have sex without worrying too much. I'm more than ready today for the first time. We have over an hour. Just think soon we'll be able to have sex all day and all night as much as we want. And we can do it in Hawaii, Rio, Bermuda, or in a Hyatt penthouse. I'll keep my current sex life with my wife on the back burner to stay safe. We're too close to blow it now. Remind me again, how long do you have to wait before you divorce her? A couple of years until she turns 30 and inherits her grandfather's share in the business. He'll pay us a fortune 7 to 8 figures to buy back the 25% of the business I'll get in the divorce. He'd never give up that much control. Don't worry, baby, we'll have sex. But only when the time is right and Elliot won't be able to catch us 2 years. I don't know if I can hold out that long. Sweetheart, we've gotten this far by being smart and careful. Just hang in there a little longer. I promise I'll rock your world as many times as you can handle. Think of what we're doing today as just an appetizer. Oh, and by the way, you need to push harder on the divorce or I might start looking for another guy. You better be joking, Al. Right, fine. I'll go to the lawyer soon and start making moves. I guess I really don't need to worry about what I'll get from my marriage as long as I have you. So bedroom time, no, I don't want to bother with new sheets. Let's do it on the carpet. It'll feel dirtier and more exciting. Plus it's easier to clean up. I bet I can get undressed faster than you came. The sound of shuffling. And soon Elliot heard the all-too-familiar sounds of his wife in heat. The worst part was when she said, "You feel so much better than my weak husband. Take me harder, baby, take me harder." Elliot was almost catatonic. Once he came to his senses, he returned to his office. He called his detective and said he wanted to buy the remaining recorder. The rest of the equipment would be returned. Then he called his lawyer, who was relieved to return to the divorce proceedings and scrap the idea of a new prenuptial agreement. Elliot told Hannah there was a problem. His lawyer had quit because they believed the new prenuptial agreement wasn't in Elliot's best interest. He assured her that he had a new lawyer who only cared about being paid. The new prenup would be ready in about a week. Meanwhile, Elliot got to work. 10 days later, Elliot asked Hannah to meet him at home. Hannah was stunned to see a replay of the latest scene in the house. Elliot, his laptop, the recorder, and an envelope were on the kitchen table. Once again, Elliot wore the expression of someone who had just swallowed a canary. "This better not be a repeat of last time. I'm about to grab the sharpest knife we own," you should have said. "Show me the evidence." Hannah had a sinking feeling. She rummaged through her memory, trying to find anything to counter what was coming, but she couldn't think of anything. "All right, Sherlock, what have you got?" First, Elliot played the recording of her conversation with Craig, but all the recording devices were removed, she said, starting to panic. "It's illegal to record private conversations. You can't use that in court." Then Elliot played a video on his computer. It was Craig. He confessed to everything, stating that it had all been Hannah's idea. "He's lying. You must have bribed him or threatened to tell his wife. I'll crucify you in court." In court, however, the video and recordings were admissible, as it wasn't a criminal case, and the one who ended up crucified was Hannah. The prenuptial agreement was upheld, and she left the marriage with what she had brought into it, just under $3,000. What's more, she racked up a hefty debt with her attorney, but he was out of luck. Hannah disappeared with the money in the car. Thank you for listening until the end. See you in the next episode of Epic English. Take care of yourself and your loved ones. Goodbye.